How much does Amanda spend on marketing?
Oh, I think that should be confidential.
Amanda, thank you very much for being on the show. It's an honor to have you here.
Well, thank you for having me.
So Amanda, before I ask you any questions, is Demanda really your last name?
Well, is it a doubt? No, don't doubt it. It is my last name. It's my last name as an attorney.
Okay.
I was not born with that name. My maiden last name is Del Busto, so it starts with a D. So my real name is Amanda D. Surreal, which is my married last name. But when I started working as an attorney in advertising, everyone knew me as Amanda Demanda because they're like, please Demanda for me, you know? So then I changed it with the Florida bar, and that is my name now as an attorney. So it is my attorney name.
And who came up with that Demanda? Was it yourself? Was it a family member? How did that come about?
No, it kind of, I always accredit it to one of our really close friends, Christopher Pineda. He kind of came up with it because when we're always joking around, or everyone always hears all the success I had from my clients, and they said, man, I want that for me. And then he would always be like, Amanda, demanda por mí, Amanda, demanda. So when I decided to go off on my own, I really just took on that idea, and I ran with it, trademarked it nationwide and in Florida. So there's only one of me. If there's anyone else using it, I'll come for you. And that's pretty much it. But I am Miss Demanda in court.
Wow. Okay.
Yep.
So Amanda, in the past 5 years, you've somehow managed to become a household name. What do you think are some of the key strategies that have helped you become a household name?
Well, that's a very broad question. As far as marketing, I think there's a few things. You can have a lot of money and you can put your face on every billboard, and you can, really try to do all the marketing ad buy things. But unless you really have a passion and a mission that backs that up, and you're successful in what you put yourself out there in your market to do, it's hard to become a household name and actually carry that through. Because I've seen many people come and go in my industry, and all of a sudden you see billboards everywhere and their faces everywhere, and then 6 months out you never hear from them again. So I think it's a compilation of a few things, not only the marketing efforts, the ad buying, but actually doing the work that corroborates that supports that message you're putting out there.
Do you think when it comes to marketing, there's a set of laws that you have to follow, that no matter what type of marketing you're doing, you really have to think about the psychology behind your marketing? And who's the brainstorm? Who's the person brainstorming all of those ideas when it comes to marketing?
For my brand?
For your brand?
Me.
For everything?
For everything. Yeah. So my background is in marketing.
Yeah.
I'm a very creative person. I love to draw, paint, script write, all that stuff. It's all me. And my first degree at the University of Miami is broadcast production, so I know how to produce TV. I know how to produce, period. Hence my studio. I kind of made this all up in my head and kind of just hired the people to put it together. But it all lives in my head. So when people say, well, what production company did you hire? And I'm like, well, it's me. I just hire people to help me execute my vision.
Wow.
I very much have a very clear understanding of what I want my brand to be, what my vision is, what my personal brand is, what my personal mission statement is. So I'm very clear on that. And many times people want to do something, but they can't put pen to paper, or they can't envision it. And they go in and hire these production companies. And it's like, you can hire the best camera guy, you can hire the best script writer. But if you don't know, and you're not true to who you are or what your mission is, then it's going to fall flat. So I really think that it's a combination of things, being the visionary behind things. But for me, myself, it's me. Are there specific kind of norms and elements and laws of kind of marketing? Yeah, of course. I studied marketing as well. There's product placement, people. Where are you placing your product? What is your product? What are your people? Who's your target audience? And I think sometimes people underestimate that, and they spend a lot of money buying ads or putting, posters in places, just spending money from a TV ad to a radio show and they're targeting the wrong audience. They have the wrong message. So, I mean, there's many things so you can go into about marketing. A lot.
You mentioned one key detail when it comes to marketing, and I know a thing or two about marketing, maybe not to the level that you do, certainly. I'm not on TV or on a bus yet, but you mentioned your target audience. How important is it for any business owner out there to really understand the person that you're speaking to and that target audience that you want to have as clients?
Well, I think that's the primary concept you need to start with. Like, who do I want to attract and for what reason? And then you find a way to target them. I think it's naive to think like, well, everyone's going to be my client. They're not. Like, let's say you're a pool cleaner and you have a pool route. What do you want to attract? Well, anybody who has a pool. No, you don't. Not really. You want to attract the certain people that fall into your route, so it's easier for you to, be more efficient. You want to fall into, you do saltwater pools, whatever it is, or you want people that pay X amount because you give high quality service. So you want people in nice, affluent neighborhoods. So you target them. You don't just put out an ad in every, pool store. You put it in the neighborhoods where it matters to you. So I think being very intentional and getting very granular about who your target market is essential to being efficient with your marketing ad dollars, especially in the beginning. I think you go first with the audience and the path of least resistance, and then you can build from there. Because no matter how much we all want to say like, yeah, we want to grow, the truth is profits need to come in for you to continue that growth. So that would be my advice. I would just very intently focus on a niche market and try to reach those people. I think that's the starting point. And then, of course, once you identify that, it helps a lot with how to define the brand and how you're going to send the message to that group. Because maybe a crowd that's more affluent is not going to want loud colors, or they want things that are more subtle, or they want a pool guy that's discreet. So I'm just giving you that example because we started with that hypothetical, but that's the idea. I think that you start there and you do everything reverse.
So that's where any business should start, really understanding their target audience?
Yes.
Interesting.
You want me to tell you how I did mine?
In a second.
Okay.
I wanna step back
Okay.
just a couple of years. When you started your law firm, obviously you didn't start your own firm right after graduating law school. What was that moment like when you were working for someone else and then you really thought, okay, you know what? I want to be a business owner. What made that happen?
I never wanted to be a business owner. I want to be the best personal injury attorney for my community. And that's still what I believe. And I think it's naive of a lot of personal injury attorneys specifically, because in comparison to many other businesses, and I've done marketing for many businesses, my family's owned many different types of businesses, so has my husband, the margins in personal injury or even in law are huge. And I'm a pretty good business person. I like to think that because I analyze things. I'm very thoughtful. I've gone to business school and all that stuff. But I don't sit here and try to give entrepreneurial advice because the truth is that the latitude to make mistakes as personal injury attorneys have, if you have some good cases coming in, if you even have one big hit, you really have a lot of room to make errors and still look like a badass in business. So I'm hesitant to, pound my chest about my acumens. And I think, I don't like to think highly of myself because I always think there's room to grow. But I think that a lot of people are quick to give business advice that maybe really haven't done like business. To me, business, to me, law and being a lawyer is not a business. It's a profession. It's a lifestyle. Many people think, as a lawyer, I'm a lawyer in my job, but then I can go and get drunk and, be a fool. And when you're a lawyer and you're bound by the ethics of being a lawyer, you are a lawyer all the time. So to me, it's not like a business and then I have another business going on. It's really a passion. It's a calling. It's my mission to help people and doing it through this avenue. So I never really had an idea like, I want to be a business owner and be my own boss, because I always kind of operated that way anyway. It was just more a matter of how can I better serve my community at a larger scale? And I wasn't able to do that at the firm I was at.
What do you think that was? Because like some sort of constraint when it comes to marketing, or what was keeping you from serving your clients to the best of your potential? Like working for someone else, if that makes sense.
Well, I was working along with someone because I was managing the firm,
okay.
But they didn't have the larger vision. They were an older trial attorney, great trial attorney, learned a lot, not necessarily willing to take the next step and expand and grow, because they had like, they're finishing their career. I was just starting mine.
Yeah.
So it really was just an idea of like, well, we have to split ways just because of a vision of where we wanted to take our mission, not necessarily because I couldn't have done it there. Maybe if that partner would have been on board to advertise and things like that, I would have done it. The old school mentality of old trial attorneys that are very prestigious, I care a lot about my craft, my peers' opinions of me regarding my work at court and things like that mattered to me. So there was this mindset amongst the older attorneys, this generation, that advertising is cheesy. It's beneath them. It degrades the profession. And I could see why that can seem true, but the world has shifted so much, and if you don't get out there and say your name, you're gonna get beat out by the guy who's just saying his name.
Correct.
Right? So I'm not prideful in that sense. I understand the necessity for it.
So they were kind of like operating archaically at your previous firm.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
What was the beginning like though? Like your first year in business, was it scary at all? Like being your own boss? What was that like?
Oh yeah. Well, I think most of the people say, well, do you have, the capital, or do you have the mindset to be a business owner, an entrepreneur? The truth is can you stomach it? Wow. Because there's a feeling inside of you the whole time that you're doing the right thing, but there's a pit in your stomach that you're like, well, there's people's livelihoods depend on me. And my arena, my clients' cases depend on me. But it's really, can you stomach the growth and everything it comes with? And some people just can't. And some people don't want to. And I respect that. I could sit here and tell you that everything I have, my success, is because I'm extremely disciplined, which I am. And most people will say discipline. But most people who are business owners and type A personalities, we're highly disciplined people, highly competitive. But I don't attribute my success to that. I attribute my success to all the people that have joined me along the way, because it takes a lot of shoulders for me to stand on, to lead and see through the mission of the greater good I want to do in my community. So that's not lost upon me. I would say what I attribute all my success to is the people that surround me, the people that applaud me, the people that let me lead. That's what really makes a difference.
It's interesting you say that, because I've had a lot of successful guests on my podcast, thank God, and they all come back to those two things: the discipline and the people behind them, and really the team that's behind them, supporting them with everything. To go back to the discipline, how do you think you became disciplined? Do you think you were always like that, or?
Yeah, I'm very hard on myself since I'm little. Not hard, and I don't want to say like hard on myself, like I beat myself up, because people are, always be kind to yourself, and there's like a whole mantra. I understand that for mental health reasons, and I really believe in you have to be your number one cheerleader. But I am disciplined. I will outwork anybody, because I knew I wasn't the smartest in the room. I didn't read till I was like in 5th grade. I struggle with dyslexia. Wow. So I had to find how I learned. I had to find different avenues for things, and no one was going to do it for me. And I understood that at a very, very young age. But I'm also the type of person that I like to live to the fullest every day. I don't want to leave anything undone. I don't leave anything for tomorrow. If I do a list of things to do that need to get done today, I won't sleep till it's done. And I think a lot of people give themselves a lot of self-importance. Oh my God, I don't feel like it. I'm just going to watch this Netflix series instead of doing whatever I have to do. And the truth is, I'll never feel like it. You're never going to feel like doing something. I've hated every workout I've done in my life. And I've played sports. I hated every one of those workouts. I still do today. But I have to do it. It's on my calendar. It's getting done. No questions asked. If I give myself that self-importance, like I'm not going to go to work because my tummy hurts, you cannot go to the next level. Because when I'm in trial, it doesn't matter if my tummy hurts. I have to go pick a jury. They're waiting for me. The judge is waiting for me. So I think being hard on myself in the sense that I have a lot of self-control in that regard has helped me. But I've also been very fortunate to have very good health in my life. So a lot of times, you hear people be disciplined, be this and that, but some people don't have that fortune of having good health. If you're battling a cancer, if you're going through things, if you have a sick child, you can't blame that person. That's the hand they were dealt. And you just have to do the best you can. So I haven't walked in those shoes, but I would say anybody who's healthy, young, and wants to make something out of themselves, then go for it, and go for it every day. It's an everyday thing. So
I'm going to expose myself for a second, I guess, to kind of make the example a little bit easier to understand. Let's say I like through my job, I've like closed some big cases, and I say like I'm not successful yet, hopefully in the future. But when you accomplish some degree of success, like the success you've gotten to, how do you stay like grateful but not satisfied? Because it's
Hungry.
easy to get, how do you stay hungry?
Well, definition of success is very different to many people.
What's your definition of success?
It's not money. Money ain't ish. It's just not. It isn't. I mean, and I think most of us that have immigrant families know that could be taken from you in an instant. And what do you have left if you don't have a moral compass and real values? I think what success is being comfortable enough for you to, as long as you don't have to like hunt for food, water, and shelter every day, then you're a blessed person. If you have to do those three things, then it's very hard to elevate as a human, right? So the definition of success for many people is different. So I don't like to be like, this is what success is. And then people feel like, well, I'm less than because I don't have $1 million, or I'm less than because whatever. I think my idea of success is continuing to pursue this mission of leaving a mark, at least in my community, and helping others to be kind and be giving. I'm a very giving person. I've just always liked doing community service and things of that nature. I thrive in a community. I thrive with people. I thrive with a support group. I'm not a loner. And I'm very aware of that. So to me, success is being able to do all the things I like to do and do it with people that are also reaping benefits from it. So I don't know. I don't know. What do you do? Because you haven't even told me.
Well, right now I work with the oldest financial planning firm in South Florida, MPC Financial, and I'm also studying to become a financial consultant. So
nice.
That's what I do. But okay, so let's say right now you're a trial lawyer, you're a business owner, you're a mother, you're a wife. And by the way, before I say that, you're the only person that's asked me on the podcast what I do. So that's funny.
Because I told you I'm an interview.
Yeah, I know.
Little by little, I want to get out of you. So.
I know. Okay, so you're all of these things, and you have a lot of things on your plate. A couple of minutes ago, you said if you have a to-do list, you have some things to do, they're going to get done.
Yeah.
No matter what.
Yeah.
How do you manage to sacrifice some areas of your life to really fulfill those other areas that need to be taken care of? If that makes sense. Like sometimes spending less time with your family, staying in the office longer.
Well, to me, none of it is a sacrifice because I've chosen to really work and do something I truly love and is my passion. And I've never seen it as a sacrifice. And people love to use this work-life balance, quote, term, whatever. And to me, it's always seemed so foreign because to me, my work is my life. It's my life's work. It really comes from a deeper place than just money or like getting that next big case. Every person's life I touch is kind of adds value to my life and my kids' life because through the experience I gained through that, it's compassionate or whatever it brings to me, I pass that on to my kids. But one thing I could tell you about how I try to manage everything is that I compartmentalize things. I put them in boxes and one box will not bleed into another. When I'm at work, I'm very present at work. When I'm with my kids, I'm very present with my kids. So everything I do is quality time. Nothing is half-assed time. And I think people blend things too much. So they're doing everything half-assed instead of just doing like one thing really good at a time. Yeah. So my kids wouldn't know if I worked 90 hours a week because with the time that I'm with them, it was very with them, very present. So I don't know. I've never felt like I'm sacrificing one thing or the other. I've never felt that way. Maybe someone from outside can have a different opinion, but I don't really care about people's opinions. So that's a good way to live your life. Yeah.
So Amanda, going back, because I want to make sure that you answer this question.
Sure.
We were talking about your target audience. When you first started really marketing, how did you come up with your target audience? You do a lot of ads and marketing in Spanish.
Yeah.
We're in South Florida, a lot of immigrants, a lot of Hispanics. But how did you come up with your target audience?
Okay, well, personal injury attorneys, and I've been to many masterminds and conferences, and it's funny because they're all like, well, who's your audience? Well, anybody who's hurt. No. Who is your audience? You have to be honest with yourself. who is my audience, I had to look into who I am. I'm a woman. I speak Spanish. Who would hire me? I'm young, relatively young in the field. So who's going to hire me? It's going to be people who are receptive to Spanish speaking, who are okay with having a woman lawyer, who are okay with having a younger lawyer, who identify with my language in Spanish. And that was the path of least resistance as well. So whoever is like the more educated or really wants like, you know, an older attorney with the gray hair, they're not going to hire me. So why would I pitch them? They're not going to hire me. It's fine. I don't need them to hire me. So also it's funny because there's some like Hispanics that be like, whoa, but I want a Jewish attorney because they, you know, the judíos really get your money. And then it's funny to me because I'm like, okay, well, I can't give you that. But but you can't be naive to that. Why am I going to go advertise to that population? So what I did is I studied the market, and I studied the type of cases I have, and I realized that the people that would be more receptive to me would probably be middle-aged women, Spanish speakers. There's like a sense of pride to this generation of like either new arrivals, first generation here, that they feel almost proud that I made it and that I'm a woman, and they want to give me their business and they trust in me because they know I'm more coming from a more compassionate place than maybe some male attorneys. So I capitalized on that. I was also very intentional that what I wanted was I do a lot of premises cases as opposed to car accidents. In the inception, when I started, that was really my thing. I defended the big box stores like Walmart and stuff like that. So I really know how to handle those cases and maximize. So I said, most people don't want those cases. Everyone's going after the car accidents, whatever. Okay. I went after those cases. And guess what? With those cases, you could write your own check because you're not limited by policy from an insurance company, like an auto policy. They're usually the policies are huge, or millions of dollars. And on top of that, if my core audience is a little bit older, when they fall, they actually sustain a serious injury. So it's a way bigger case. It's a way high value case. So I was very intentional to be like middle-aged, Spanish speaking. I don't want to say lower education, but not necessarily educated here in the States, so that they have like, they can understand that I can guide them in the law. And that would probably be the ones going to the grocery store, are using walkers and things of that nature, because they tend to have more incidences and need more answers and better representation, more detailed representation, which you don't get so much at the big factory firms. So I took all that information and I looked back and I look at mega trends, right? If you're a business owner, you should always be looking at mega trends that are happening. What is going to change in the next 10 years with certainty, especially in your industry? And what are the things that are not going to change, right? So when I looked at that, what I know is that by year 2045, as a population worldwide, we're going to have more people over the age of 65 than under 14. So the truth of the matter is that we're an aging population. And then, I mean, there's other things that may come after that if we don't start procreating more. But I understood that very well. So I started with and many times when I was first getting younger clients, it would be like, how'd you hear about me? And it's like, well, I got home and I said, Grandma was in an Uber accident. She's like, ¿Dónde llama Amanda? So it actually came from Grandma. Wow. So that was the path of least resistance. And that's where we made our foundation and our baseline. And obviously we've stacked it after that and grown. But I was very granular about that. And I think people will just say, I want anyone that's injured. Yeah, we all do. But that's going to be very difficult to get.
Right now, when we started the podcast, you said, I don't want to give business or entrepreneurial advice. What you said right now about being very granular about your target audience, that's gold for anyone that's watching this. That's literally the root of any business. So that's a great piece of advice.
Well, I'm just saying, I can tell, I believe in learning from storytelling, not so much as abstract concepts. So I could tell you how I did it. And then people could take away from that and apply to whatever their market is, their industry, or what their niche is. So I can't tell you like, this is the formula every time. I would just say, be aware of megatrends, be aware what's changing, what's not changing, be aware who you are and who you appeal to. It's okay. We don't appeal to everybody. None of us appeal to everybody. There's some people that absolutely hate me, I'm sure, for whatever reason. And I'm okay with that. You know, so I think we have to be aware of that. Trying to be likable by everyone is impossible, especially in the marketing world.
That's very true. When you said that there's things that change, things that do change, and things that don't change, there's things that change when it comes to marketing. For example, Facebook ads, Instagram ads, Google ads, they're always going to be changing. But something that never changes is really the psychology behind marketing. And I know you're the marketing expert, but that's just something that I think is very important for people to know. How do you track those metrics when it comes to your marketing? Let's say the TV ads that go out, the bus station. How do you track those metrics to see how effective
like the ROI, the return on investment on them? Or the cost of acquisition. I mean, there's different metrics. We keep all
like
metrics.
How do you track all those metrics?
Well, we have softwares and client, profile systems, and we ask people where they came from. We also, if you're doing digital campaigns or if you could track it, where the call came from, we use all those softwares and try to, get all that data in one place and analyze it. Sometimes it's difficult with more traditional mediums to really get an accurate pinpoint, but we could tell you when we run a specific ad on a specific station on TV, the phone rings for 11 minutes after every time. So we know which ones work more than others. There's some direct response things, and there's some things that are more branding. And I can give examples to different law firms about, like, depending what size you're at, how much you should be spending on direct response and how much you be spending on branding. But it all depends where you are at and what's your revenue.
How much does Amanda spend on marketing?
Oh, I think that should be confidential. A lot. It's way in the 7 figures.
Okay. Thank you for sharing that.
So
I think that just clarifies the importance of marketing and investing in your business, not like other law firms that maybe are operating archaically. So let's say you were starting from zero a couple years ago. What are some pieces of advice you would give to yourself? Like Amanda talking to her younger self. What do you think are some mistakes you could have avoided, or some things that could have taken you on a smoother path?
Mistakes I could have avoided?
Or what advice would you give to
None, because
yourself?
my mistakes, they're my greatest blessings. I think failures is what we learn most from. So I would never change any of those. I actually welcome them. What advice would I give to myself? I think I would genuinely be the same person. If I was starting in the same industry again, I would tell a younger me or someone that wants to do it, just go do the work and shut up. Forget about the money. It will come if you do it right. You can't focus on the money. If you're chasing money, it's never going to come to you.
Wow.
You can chase it. It will chase you. Become a professional in what you do. Believe in the mission. Provide an actual service. Be worth something. And then it will just come to you. It will seek you. Oh my God, there's so many associates that come and go, or so many people I see opening businesses, firms with the wrong idea. I've never needed to impress anyone. Like, everyone likes to buy luxury things, and I'm not going to say I don't have luxury things, but I don't care to boast. It doesn't fill my cup. And when you want to buy something because you've always wanted that as a kid, or like, I really wanted this car, cool, do it for you. But when you're doing it just to appeal or, aparentar, like we say in Spanish, to other people, then you're doing it for the wrong reasons. And I think, unfortunately, the lawyer world has become like Suits. Like, oh, I'm the big badass. But truly, it's like, are you? Can you go to court and argue something? So I think before you're able to really boast, you need to have something to back it up. So I think I would just do the same thing. Just do the grind. Put your head down. Learn. You know nothing when you leave law school. You know nothing. And you got to know that. You got to know what you don't know. It's good to be confident. I've always been very confident. I've always pushed the envelope. But I've always kind of gone into a room, observed, and learned before I would speak. That's why I say I don't like speaking like, oh, entrepreneur, you got to do this and do that. And then here's Jeff Bezos looking at me like, what is this girl talking about? Right? You know what I mean? Like, I still have so much to learn, and I've been through so much. And I think, we've grown something great, and we're still growing it. But the truth is that I'm just excited about the people I work with and bringing them a good livelihood and having fun while we do it. And then the time just passes, and we get to accomplish our mission. But I would say, don't focus on the money. Never try to count somebody else's money or look into their pockets, because all that's going to do is just going to discourage you. But, people don't necessarily listen to that advice.
So really do it to serve people. And
yeah,
then the money will come.
being a lawyer is a labor of love.
Wow.
especially in Florida where there's no bodily injury insurance. To all our senators out there, we need to change that because we're the only state that doesn't have it. But at the end of the day, you know how much pro bono work we end up doing? A lot. A lot. So it's the nature of the business.
Right now, when you answered the question I asked you right now, you mentioned that when you go into a room, you learn, you try to listen. I've seen you on social media going to like events, like Patrick Bet-David events. How important do you think it is to keep investing in yourself and your self-improvement and just learning, looking for new strategies?
I'm really big on, I'm a lifelong learner, the triple L. I challenge everyone to do that. If I'm listening to new information or just observing it, there's just something that shifts inside of me and like a hum begins in my brain, and I start immediately absorbing that and seeing how I can turn it into something I could use positively in whatever I'm doing. So I think a lot of people kind of get like just tired. It's human nature to be like, okay, I've learned enough. Like my memory card is full, you know, like I don't want to listen to it anymore. But even like I love watching any series or movies or anything. I like to watch documentaries by like any biopics or anything like that because I like things that are feeding me history or information of current things. I'm not a big fiction girl, even though I watch Game of Thrones, so I do believe in dragons. But I think it's important to, you know, be creative and watch some things that are like that. But I just constantly feeding myself ideas of things like that because, like I said, my work is my life, and I really don't separate them. I don't think it would be healthy for me to. But that's just how I'm wired. So I'm saying I can't be like, this is an absolute advice to everybody because some people just they don't function that way, and that's fine.
Do you think you were born like that, or that's something that you developed?
I was born like that.
Okay. So you're a lifelong learner.
Yeah.
Throughout this whole conversation, you've mentioned brand, story, like having a storytelling. Since you're a lifelong learner, I'm assuming that you like to read.
No,
I'm
dyslexic. I read very slow. The only reading I'll do is for case law, motion practice, and if I absolutely have to. I listen to a lot of audiobooks, a lot of master classes, like a lot of talk radio.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give you a little challenge.
What?
I brought you a gift.
Okay.
And if you want to read it, I suggest you read it. It's a great book.
No, I could read. I won't sit and read a novel. It's painful for me.
Okay, well, it's not a novel. It's kind of a marketing book.
Oh, thank you.
And I feel like it resonates a lot with your
story. This is very nice.
I'm not sponsored or anything, by the way.
No. Okay. No, this type of stuff, to me, this is kind of like you're saying, seminars or continuing to learn or better yourself, you know, self-help books. But this stuff I could read because I take it. I actually like to mark things up and I tab it. That's what I did in law school. I like to write on my book. But I won't sit and read a novel or anything like that or a biopic. I'd just rather hear it. But I appreciate that. Thank you. It's very nice.
If you can also get the Audible, maybe it'll be a little bit easier.
Yeah, I have memberships to all the Audible master classes and all that stuff. But this is very nice. So tell me, how do you define success?
To me, success. Wow, first time I'm being interviewed in my podcast. Success, I would say, is defined as making a name for yourself. I guess success is reaching the end of your life. And if you believe in God, I guess God is going to show you, okay, so this is who you could have been. This was your potential. And I feel like if you actually match that person, that's success. And I feel like success is being in a position to give back to the community at a point where, I mean, you can take care of your family, you can take care of your community. And you mentioned that money, maybe that's not a definition of success, but I feel like to me, being more than comfortable is...
Well, I don't want to discredit having money. Let me be very clear. I believe the world will be a better place if I have more money because I know what I'll do with it is provide for a community, right? But I'm saying not necessarily does money only describe success. And I think what you're saying is very true in the sense that what you're saying is that does this human with what they were given reach their maximum potential? And this person's maximum potential may not be the same as mine. And in the eyes of who is it less than? if they did the best they could and they enjoyed it and they're satisfied. I'm no one to say, well, you didn't make this amount of money or you don't drive this kind of car, you're not successful. And I think that societal norms really kind of force people to feel that way. And I don't think any of the social media platforms help. But I think we're kind of on the same page in that regard. I think it's just reaching maximum potential and having self-satisfaction, and so that you don't feel any kind of way. Let me ask you this. If you ever had to have dinner with someone and you can ask them, pick their brain, anything you want, who would it be? Dead or alive, doesn't matter.
It would probably be like Jeff Bezos, for sure.
Well, he's here in Miami, so
yeah,
Jeff,
I know.
do a podcast with him. We can go right here.
I mean, that's the goal. One day I'll have him on the podcast for sure.
Yeah.
I think Jeff Bezos would be a great person to sit down with, and he has a Cuban stepfather. I think.
He's from here. He's from Miami.
What about you?
Who I would have dinner with? Mother Mary.
Wow. I was not expecting that at all.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think I would like to know what more powerful woman do we know historically than her? I mean, she birthed Jesus, and then she had to live through the painstaking agony of being his mom.
I feel bad now because if I would have known we were talking about that type of person,
I
could have said Jesus Christ, but
no, you don't have to say Jesus Christ.
No, I feel like
I'd rather speak to his mom. You know,
true.
Moms have all the dirt. You know,
That's
he's
true.
gonna talk nice about himself, so I'd be like, no, Jesus, I need to talk to your mom.
that was a great question.
Yeah, so
I feel bad now. I said Jeff Bezos.
No, this is good stuff. I think it's paramount that on your podcast we get to know you a little bit.
True.
So that we can kind of get into deeper topics. And
you're the only guest that has asked me questions like that, so I appreciate that. It's
well, I don't like just talking about myself. I hear myself enough, and I'm sure some of my staff and team here would agree. So I'm always the one talking up here.
And I guess to also add on to the question you asked me about what success means to me, I feel like the position that you're in, which you're giving your people the opportunity to really be successful in your business, I feel like that's also another major level of success. Giving the opportunity to people to really be the best person they can and really be of value to the community. I feel like that's
I'll tell you something. People always say, like, who's your mentor? Or who did you look up to? And really, outside of my parents and my siblings, I don't think I had a mentor per se, at least not like a positive mentor. I think I got more mentorship from people who turned me down, treated me wrong, or like you said, what were your mistakes and what were your failures and what you've gone through. That's really been my mentoring experience. And if I can in any way turn that around and mentor some people, or at least give them a platform to do what they need to do, like you're suggesting, I think that that's a huge win for me personally. My personal mission in life is to live a life of significance. And I think if we're not very intentional about that every day, life just passes you and you didn't live, you didn't live to your full potential. So I don't think anyone sits down. Everyone thinks like, for mission statements or core values, it's really for a business, but it really is for your life too. You should sit down one day and do, what's your mission statement and what are your core values? Wow. And if you don't know that about you, like, how can you build a business and then lead and be a leader? Because you can't just wake up one day and say, I'm a leader. People make you a leader. If you have no followers, you're not a leader. And it's crazy to me with this whole, I'm an old soul, or maybe there's all these social media and all these things about everyone wants to be an influencer. And I'm like, an influencer of what? Like, I don't care how many followers I have. I don't care how many people view my videos. The content is just there for my business and my law firm, so people could get to know me as a human and things of that nature. But my goal is to be an influencer in the law, to be an influencer in people's lives that come to me. Outside of that, I mean, what are you going to follow me because I wear nice suits? Okay, cool, right? You could do that too. But that's not my goal. And I think people get really tripped up with this digital, superficial kind of world and forget that it needs to have a real life part to back it up. So I challenge everybody to make their own mission statement and their own core values.
So to be like clear on your vision.
Yeah. Everyone always said, I mean, I have young people comments like, oh, things have been so hard and life this, life that. And I say, okay, what do you want from life? Well, what do you mean? What do you want from life? Be intentional. What do you want? Write it down. Think about it. I want a house. I want to have kids. I want $1 million. I want to ace that test. I want to get this degree. What do you want?
Do you write them
You'd be
down?
surprised. Yeah. How many people do not know what they want? So if you don't know what you want, A, how is the universe going to give it to you? And number two, how do you know what you're going to do today to even get an inch closer to that? And sometimes when we're young, like Santi here, might not know what he wants just yet because, he's in high school. He'll figure it out. But there's at least some things you can identify you want just now, right? You want to win a championship. You want to play soccer at this level. Because if you don't intentionally say, like, that's my goal, if you're not goal-oriented, if you don't have, like, a finish line, then what do where are you running to? You're just running in circles or aimlessly, which is worse. So
share some of that list with us. What do you write down every day? What is it that you ultimately want?
I don't write it down every day. I do this exercise like once every quarter, like every 3-4 months. And I kind of go back and scratch off what I accomplished. And then I do a 3-month out. It's a 90-day. And then it's the 6-month, a year, 3-year, 5-year, 10-year.
Okay. I want to know some of those long-term goals you have.
I don't like to share sometimes because hate is going to hate.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
You can quote that one. Next time we start the podcast, you better start with, I know someone that said, hate is going to hate. And then I'll know it was me.
For sure. I will. So how do you, certainly you have a lot of cases coming in. How do you manage to create that strong relationship with your clients? Yeah, you do have a brand, Amanda Demanda. But how do you really establish that relationship with your clients?
Well, first off, I make myself very available. Not only on all platforms like social media, and that's why we have that presence. But also, I think that my brand from its inception is very much like we treat you like family. We're here for you. So people already don't necessarily have to meet me in person to get that connection. But we also focus on what we call our client journey, and we're continuing to perfect that little by little. That means from the very beginning of when you call our office to the very end when we close your case, you will have had all your senses touched and emotions kind of connected to us. And I want to make very clear that everyone, our formula, the way we approach cases, our core values here at our firm are all the same. Everyone that works here has to be just like I am with clients and cases. If you don't adhere to our core values, we're being very strict about not keeping people on the team because it's not helpful to us. But we have a client journey from day one, and we can talk. This kind of goes to marketing. Like, have you ever gone to the Ritz? Have you stayed or gone into a room in the hotel in the Ritz? And when you walk into their room, they touch all 5 senses. Did you know that?
No.
You'll smell something. You'll hear something. Their TV's always on with like some nice ocean music, whatever. You could touch something. They'll have like a chocolate for you. So they're touching all your senses. They're very intentional with their marketing and your experience.
How do you do that?
So what we try to do is that we make sure that when we talk to the client, they're hearing something, they're getting a visual, they're getting a specific welcome text message. So they get all the senses. We send them welcome boxes with specific things from the mints to the everything. Yeah. We do birthday cards.
That's another.
We're putting a lottery scratch off in the birthday card, stuff like that.
That's another very powerful piece of advice. I've never even thought about that.
Well, that's marketing.
Yeah.
Because people think marketing is advertising. It's very different. Okay. Marketing, you could be, when you're talking about advertising, that's more of the creative. You get a PR agency, you work with an ad creator, and then you buy actual spots on TV, or you buy radio spots, or you buy a billboard. That's advertising. That's only one component of marketing. Marketing is the brand. It is building a brand that actually evokes a feeling. Like if I tell you Disney, you feel a certain way. If I tell you Coca-Cola, you feel a certain way. Nike. These are brands that you go on the Nike website, they don't even have shoes on there. It's just athletes. It's a feeling. So you have to understand that marketing is very widespread. So it can be many things. And I used to do marketing for consumer products. So from the factory to the warehouse workers to the inventory, like marketing also involves business, finance guys, because you have to decide, okay, I went down to the warehouse and we have 25 extra pallets of this, brand or this product as opposed to the other one, and we're short on this one, so let's call our distributors and put this one on sale this month just so we can move these pallets out. So that's finance. You got to work with the accountants for that. How much can I put a discount on that? How quick can I move it? Who's willing to take it? That's marketing.
Talking about marketing, are those the heels from the bus that's like on the those are the famous heels?
These are them.
How did you come about the pink? Like, who told you about that?
Who told me?
Yeah,
Me.
you?
Oh, okay, pink.
So you thought about making your brand just pink because
Yes.
everything is pink. Almost
Yeah.
everything.
Pink is not my favorite color. So it's just, I was going to go on my own. I wanted to start marketing. And if you understand marketing and how it invokes feelings, different colors invoke different things. There's colors that are urgent colors. So every fast food is yellow and red because those are the most urgent colors. Think about it. McDonald's, Burger King, KFC, they will all have those colors. So if you didn't know that, now you know that. And they're playing tricks on your mind. You're talking about the psychology of people and marketing. No matter how people try to be, I'm different, I'm not. No, they'll get you. They'll get you.
And the pink appeals your target audience.
So pink is a vibrant, this tone pink, magenta pink, vibrant. It's an urgent color, so it creates urgency. You'll see like emergency, the Red Cross, or it's urgent, it's red. As opposed to you seeing like Baptist or the hospitals, medical spas, they're all like blue, like purple, lavenders, So those are colors that create soothing feelings. So I wanted to create urgency. I wanted to create loudness. And I know that pink is an empowering feminine color. So I wanted to make sure I embraced it and I was loud. But I also studied the competition in the market and what was there currently. And I knew that there was already firms that really capitalize on the red, white, and blue, very patriotic attorney. I don't know, we do nothing with politics, but people associate that. Then there was a competitor that was using green, like money signs and things of that nature. There was someone else that was already using the orange. So I was like, look, I'm gonna go with pink. I also knew that there was a semi-competitor that was not gonna be buying that many more. Was kind of pulling out of my market a little bit, and they used to use pink. And I know that they focused grouped it, and I know their insights, and I know I did well with the focus groups. So I'm gonna capitalize.
How did you learn all of these things? I mean, aside from having a broadcasting background, like, how do you know about the 5 senses from the Ritz-Carlton, the colors? Where did you learn that? I mean, you don't like to read.
I read master classes, of
you
course.
read, but like
Audible. I mean, like
the people watching this, how can they have like your same mentality of marketing and?
They have to really want to know about it. Like, I'm very in tune that you may have heard it and you just didn't click to you. You didn't think about it.
But you had it like there, like on the top of your mind.
Yeah, because I know if I get an intuition about something, then I'll look into it. But you just kind of go getting the experience through time. And then when I worked doing makeup in college. And I learned very quickly the color palettes for eyeshadows and things of that nature, the colors that contrast each other. So you learn colors. And then in marketing, you learn what colors, evoke what emotion and things of that nature. So you kind of have all that knowledge in your head. You just have to make sure that everything you're building that you're using, you just don't learn it and dump it. Because what's the point of having all this useless information in your head, right? So I'm very much a person that thinks creative and thinks outside the box for everything. And I apply that even in my cases. For example, I'll have cases against a supermarket and they don't want to tell me if there's ever been a fall there before. They say, no, there's never been a fall here. Because if I could prove that there's been a fall in that same area for that same reason, then they should have known to fix that. My client wouldn't have fallen there, so they're negligent. They won't give me that information. So I go to public records and I ask for every firehouse in the area, every police department for their CAD reports every time they've reported there for the past 3 years for what reason. And they'll say fall. So I'll get the reports, even if they're redacted, and they'll tell me it was because someone fainted, what happened. But when the manager tries to lie to me at a deposition and tell me there's never been a fall, I'm going to say, but you've been the manager 10 years. How about this time the police even came to your place for a fall? Oh, yeah, but that lady fainted. Oh, wait, it's a fall. Why didn't you tell me, right? These are the type of things that I always think outside the box. So I don't know how you teach that. I don't know how you teach that. I could just tell people, throw yourself into learning as much as possible and hearing from other people's stories of how they build PepsiCo, of how they build Amazon, of all the different structures, so you can see how you can apply it to some industries or not. Some things don't transcend industries, some do. But evoking feelings and building a brand is a big part of marketing. It just intrigues me.
I think one of the common denominators that I've seen in people that I interview is also thinking outside the box. Let's say you're speaking to an entrepreneur. They're starting a business right now. What are like some pieces of advice that you would give them to really succeed and avoid as many mistakes? I know mistakes are like lessons, but like what are some 3 main pieces of advice that you would give to an entrepreneur?
I don't know that I can conceptualize that in such a simplistic way. I think it depends industry by industry, person by person, if it's a consumer product or not.
Let's say you're starting a law firm.
Okay, what type?
Personal injury.
Oh.
That's what you know.
Yeah. What would I tell them? I kind of said it. Don't chase the money. Because personal injury specifically is about compassion for the person you're representing and nothing else. If you lose sight of that, then you won't make it.
But what about something else? What about like some skill that you need? Like marketing is certainly one of the skills that you need. What else do you need to really
because marketing, it could just be a personal brand. Like you don't have to do marketing at the level I do it, where it's like ad buying and stuff like that. You could be the type of attorney that only wants to do a catastrophic type cases or a medical malpractice. You're not going to advertise to the masses. Your target audience is going to be other law firms that are getting these cases that don't know how to handle them. So you're really doing business to business marketing, and that's a whole different ballgame. B2B is different, right? So instead of spending money buying a commercial on TV, you're spending money taking that guy out to eat to a nice place. So your budgets are different. I mean, I told you, like, there's different budgets you should have for marketing depending what your revenue is. What you should put into branding and what you should put into direct response completely changes by the time you go making certain kind of money.
It's so interesting to see that you know all these terms about marketing. Like you're proving that you are the brain of marketing.
Oh.
Like when you're using the B2B, the B2C, the direct response, all of those terms, those are marketing terms. So like
I did marketing before I was an attorney.
I know.
For big tobacco.
But that's so important to anyone that's starting a business, having that background. I feel like that helps you so much.
Well, I think you should know, one thing you should know if you're a lawyer and you're just starting and you only went to law school and then your undergrad was in whatever, English, people, we do all different type of bachelors, and you don't really learn much from that. If you have zero business experience, I would highly encourage you to join either a mastermind that has at least the very basics of ops, like operations, and really invest in yourself in that regard and not be short-sighted about that. I don't need that. Yes, you do. You absolutely need it, because you don't even know how to use QuickBooks. You don't know what a P&L is. You don't know how to talk to your accountant. You don't know what deductions you could take. You know nothing. You're going to leave money on the table. And if your goal is to grow, so that you don't have to work in your 70s as an attorney, which happens a lot because we are all like anchored to our desk, then you really need to put those systems in place earlier than later. And people skip that.
So usually my last question on the podcast is, what does success mean to you? Obviously, you already answered that question.
We did that one.
You asked me that question.
Yeah,
you put
we
me on the spot.
that.
You put me on the spot completely, because I always ask this question to my guests, and I had never really thought about it on a very detailed level. But the last question I want to ask you is, midway through our conversation, you said that you don't really like living lavishly and buying fancy things. Of course, it's nice every once in a while, especially if you've been wanting something for a long time. But can you explain the importance of like every time you make money, every time you close a big case, every time, etc., like really investing that back into your business, into your brand, into the marketing? Explain that to the people watching that maybe have a business.
Again, that's very hard to say in an abstract concept, because it all depends on your burn rate. Like what do you need to sustain?
I know that personal injury has like high margins, so you have like a little bit more.
Yeah,
room.
well, it depends if you're successful at it.
Yeah.
If you're doing it for the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
You're closing cases. Your settlement averages are down. You're not doing great by your clients, so you're probably not going to get return clients. So now you have to reinvest and go chase that other next first lead. We work very hard so that even though we're chasing the next first lead all the time, we're making sure that whoever came through our doors either comes back to us or make sure the rest of their family comes back to us. So that's branding. People don't focus on that, and that's short-sighted. So I don't know. I mean, I think that's hard because everyone has different lifestyles. I'm not saying I don't live lavishly. I could live a lot more lavishly than someone else looks at me. Amanda, come on, you live a great life. I do. I'm not going to say I don't. And I just say we were talking about earlier and we didn't kind of really dive into it, but how do you stay hungry? You know, it's like, don't forget where you came from. Like, just because you could afford something now just remember to reinvest it into the community and those people that could help you, because it all comes back to the people. I really believe that. Now, if you're talking about reinvesting everything into yourself or your brand, you got to be careful with that, because you may not want to reinvest it all and have no cash flow. I mean, it all depends. Business is so specific. I think it would be naive to think there's like a one size fits all, or you can buy like, you know, a law firm in a box. You can't. You have to build systems that work for you and your cash flow and what type of business you do. You may do medical malpractice and get really big hits, like $10 million case, but you only get one of those every 3 years. So what deductions you're going to take the year you hit that, or where are you going to park that money? Are you going to put it in trust? Are you going to get a structured settlement? I mean, there are endless opportunities. My advice is be aware that they exist and call on the experts that do those things to help you navigate that, because trying to do it on your own, you're going to learn too late or later that you should have taken a different avenue.
Wow. Amanda, this has been truly a great conversation. I'm so happy I got to sit down with you and really...
No, thank you for coming.
Really get into your brain and the just everything that you know about marketing is so true. Like everything that you said, there's so many pieces of advice that people can get from this video that it's crazy.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate that.
But it's an honor to have you here, and thank you for being on the show. Thank you for being one of my guests, and I truly wish you the absolute best.
Thank you. Likewise. Thanks.
Thank you, Amanda.